And I was even able to watch as you guys were wrapping the fighters' hands, and and just like I said, I was just kind of taking mental notes of everything that goes on, and because every single thing is like a lesson, that you can take from it.
That's true. There is a lot to it. That you bring that up. When you're in it, you start taking that for granted. You don't realize it, and all the work that people don't see that happened 6 months or 6 years before they stepped into that cage. And kids are adults, but that intensity, and it's real. There's really nothing else like that has that kind of synergy, that kind of warrior spirit, surrounding energy, and then still to see such great respect at the end. It's not always the case, but usually it is, and I know it was at our show. Win, lose, whatever, so much respect.
Oh yeah.
At the end for one another, and that's because they're martial artists and they're trained by martial artists. And man, what a way to start them off young. Right?
For sure.
So imagine before these guys, 8-year-old, if they stay with it, and got to prevent burnout and those things. When they're 17, how much experience.
Yeah, but you're planting seeds, and you're laying down a foundation that could set them for life, even if they don't. If they aren't lifelong martial artists, you'd be surprised how just a couple of things that they experienced can help them out in life. And I mean, I can look back at my life and look at, had it not been for the boys club open up, whenever I was a kid, who knows? Because that introduced me to a lot. It introduced me to to sports outside of what everybody else was doing. We grew up, we were playing baseball, football, basketball, those types of things, and in our neighborhood, you had to be able to do all of them, or else, because everybody was playing those in schools and all that. But the boys club actually opened up, things like, ping pong, foosball, pool, those things like that. And even though those things are games, but you kind of, there's a technique to it, and there's, if you stick with it, you can get better. And then we started getting into tournaments and all those things, and it's like, you'd be surprised what you could become passionate about whenever you just do it.
Yeah, that's true, man. Yeah, I was a boys club kid too, back in the day when we had it here, and I experienced a lot of little things. And
boxing.
Yeah, I did a little boxing here, and then they stopped that, and I thought there was no boxing around. But as an adult, I was lucky enough to find a good coach that came through here through the Air Force, and that was a game changer, man. Yeah. So what about in your business, and as an entrepreneur, and even motivating other people? How do you best motivate yourself with the business, and then motivating and empowering other people with what you do as a leader?
Well, one of the things I think to motivate myself to keep being in business, I guess, is that there's an established vision that I've had from the very beginning. Whenever I decided that this was going to be my thing, I started painting a picture in my mind of what I wanted to become. And so every day I wake up trying to become, bring that vision to life, to better myself, so that I can one day, look and say, this is exactly what I pictured from the beginning. Yeah. And so I tell my wife this all the time, but I kind of visualize myself in front of, people, I'm not saying a crowd of people, but people, and then they ask me, did I ever think that I would ever arrive to this position?
Where you are.
And the truth would be yes, every single day. Because if I didn't imagine it, I probably would have never accomplished it.
Yeah.
You have to be able to imagine it first in order to be able to step into it one day. And it's that, that vision has to be strong enough that it wakes you up. I've heard people call it a reason why.
Yeah,
right?
Deeper why.
A deeper why. And so if that thing has to be so strong that it not only wakes you up to do it, but it keeps you motivated in times when maybe it's not so good. Because there are going to be challenges. Life is going to challenge you, but whenever you're in a business, where it depends on you 100%, it's a challenge. And so the vision or the why has to be strong enough to help you push through any tough moments, and keep you humbled and grounded whenever things are going good. And so it's just a vision. I know exactly where I'm going. Everything we do has been thought of before. I'm not shooting from the hip or making it up as I go. We've thought about it. We've stayed up late nights writing it down on notepads and pens, and thinking of designs, thinking of what things are going to look like, new services that we're going to offer. It all started out in the imagination.
Brainstorming. Yeah. Oh man, I feel the same way, bro. I agree 100%. These are a lot of the things that I've learned, probably the hard way, and then I try to preach and continue. It's that visualize and you will materialize, right? It's from law of attraction to just the positivity and
absolutely,
the planning, right? So planning,
speaking it to existence. I believe that there are a couple of things that are seed. Our words are seed. Our actions are seed, and our beliefs are seed. And so I speak things into existence long before they ever manifest. Every single service that we did started out with a seed from my word, because we weren't doing it, and then getting better at it. It was just realizing that, you have to be bad at first, but then if you stick with it, you'll get better. And then eventually you start to master your craft. And there's a scripture that I love, that it says, if you see a man who has mastered his craft, that he won't have to work for mean men. And so I've noticed the quality of my clients elevate the better that I got at my craft.
So much of martial arts there's a lot of stuff that was stolen from the biblical. We say, or many grandmaster martial artists have said, to master those basics, like you said, someone that masters the basics is a hard person to beat. So you have the foundation, that's the seed. You plant it, and then from that foundation, you grow structure, you flourish, you develop, and start with the end in mind. That's the goal of where you want to go. There's a difference in a white belt and a black belt, but black belt's doing a lot of the same things the white belt did. They're just doing them a lot better. As we grow and improve and become the best versions of ourselves, to then fill yourself so that you have more to fill up others. Right?
That's it. And what we do as far as like through our business, for the longest time, I was looking to. I guess we all are looking for our calling. What are we called to do? And there's some things that I feel like I'm gifted to do. And, so we've been in, mentoring men in ministry, and mentoring, young kids, like young entrepreneurs through local programs like Ads for Next when they were here, and helping them, find grants and scholarships. My wife and I did a lot of filling out of the FAFSA, for kids, underprivileged kids, right? And so, what we've tried to do is we try to use our business as a vehicle to be a blessing to others. There's organizations that are doing, nonprofits that are looking to raise funds for a good cause, and if there's an opportunity and we're in a position to help out, we'll sponsor with the banner, we'll print some shirts up so that they can raise funds, and as long as the way I call it, doing God's work. If they're doing something good, we try to participate in those types of things, and you'd be surprised how many conversations I've had with business owners who are just getting started, that maybe have hit a brick wall, and they just need to talk. They talk about how things, how tough it is, right? And it has led me to, to start talking about the behind the scenes stuff. I believe that the true magic, and you might agree with this with martial arts and fights, I guess, is behind the scenes. I call it the behind the X's and O's of business. And they'll teach you, marketing. They'll teach you, SEO. They'll teach you how to, take photos and do videos and things like that. And that's good. You need all that stuff. But the behind the scenes, the things that, the conversations that you have with your spouse or partner, that no one ever hears. All the times you fall down, but you got back up. You know, no one sees that whenever they pick up their order.
Right.
All they see is whether or not it was done right.
Yeah.
You know,
the processes, right?
The process.
Yeah, all those processes, the grind, the hustle, you
Yeah.
know, and things that you don't see done, right? You see
Yeah.
somebody physically fit, but you don't see all those push-ups they did.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah, and it leads people to think that they were naturally like that. You know, it's like
Yeah.
no one struggles, no one ever has to fight through adversity. They might be special. And so if a person doesn't feel special, they don't feel like they can ever accomplish it. But the truth is that we all struggle.
Yeah.
But some of us choose to push through, and some of us choose to be defeated.
Yeah. No, yeah. I definitely agree, man. That work that's behind that. You know, if you saw Michael Jordan, you know, Tiger Woods, John Jones, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But where they are now, maybe definitely didn't know where they were and what happened in those early and late times of training.
Yeah.
So you follow UFC a lot, man. I always see a post of the fights and you know, your picks and this and that.
Yeah.
Who's maybe some of your overall favorite MMA fighters? And that's hard. People ask me that. I'm like, oh man, I can't tell you one. You know, pound for pound. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
So almost maybe more active today on the roster, and then maybe an all-time legend or favorite of yours from back in the day. You can give a male, and you can maybe give a female. Who are your favorite fighters? But I'm more interested in why.
And why? Okay, so let me see. Favorite fighters. You know, I really like. This is gonna. I don't know how this will go. I like Henry Cejudo right now.
Okay. Yeah.
I listen to his podcasts and his things. He's kind of, you know, I like what he's had to go through to get to where he's at. You know, he's an Olympic wrestler, and he brought that into the MMA, and he was able to, you know, defeat Demetrius Johnson and a lot of the. I mean, they were at the top of the game.
Yeah.
T.J. Dillashaw, you know, all of those guys, and he was able to do it. I mean, not with ease, but you know, he was able to become, you know, the double champ, and he calls himself the triple champion because he has the Olympic gold. But I like his mindset, and I like the, you know, just he seems to be someone that can, you know, go through anything and level up to the occasion.
Yeah.
To be able to beat a Demetrius Johnson, that you know, he got beat by him, but then he came back and he made the adjustments, and that's what really got my attention. I expected him to lose against Demetrius Johnson because you know, Demetrius is probably one of the all-time greats, right? And so. And he's another one of my favorite fighters, Demetrius Johnson, and tenacity. I just love. I mean, just skilled. I seen him do some things that, I mean, like a flying. Man, he lifted somebody up and ended up in a like a triangle choke. I can't remember what the exact thing was, but we were at Buffalo Wild Wings whenever we saw it. I was like, man, did you see that? But you know. Henry Cejudo is one of them. All time, I think George St. Pierre is one of my favorites. But I mean,
he's an easy pick.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for a lot of reasons, man. He's just a real calm, laid back guy.
He's a real martial artist.
Yeah. He's a good guy. But you know, the Chuck Liddells, I've always, you know, inside the ring. Yeah. One thing that I look for is I kind of look at, you know, who they are outside, you know, and those are some things, you know, I've never been real big on the trash talker, which is, you know, one reason why, you know, with Henry, I'm kind of like, you know, I understand there's a role that you got to play, but, you know, there's, I kind of look at it, you know, if they're screwing up outside of the ring, then it's hard for me to follow them, you know, so I like people that kind of keep it clean and keep their act together. On the female side, I would have to say my favorite is Thug Rose.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's probably my favorite. Shevchenko's another one. You know, my favorite female fighters, and I mean, for everything, they're really technical.
Nunes in there?
Huh?
No?
Amanda?
Yeah.
I do. I like Amanda. She's just not really at the top of my list. I do like her. She's powerful, and you know, I do like her and respect her. But the Shevchenkos and the Thug Rose, they stand out in the
They can fight.
in the female. Yeah, they can fight, and they're humble. They're well-rounded, you know. And I can't take anything away from Amanda. Amanda is well-rounded, and she's a great fighter too.
Yeah. I see why a lot of people will portray some things that they're not. But, man, I think there is truth in just being genuine. This is me and this is how I am. You know, I like Cowboy Cerrone for those reasons, right?
Man, yeah.
But, you know, it's marketing, man. You know, Muhammad Ali did it. It's, you know, it's the marketing. Sometimes that controversy, that drama, that commercial that you have to leave a mark and be known, you know, maybe it's standing out different. And
Yeah,
but there's
I like
a thin line
love,
of confidence. And,
I like a
too
lot
much.
of them, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to pick just one because even as you were saying,
There's
that
too many right now.
Cowboy
man. I can't
was.
even keep up with.
I love Cowboy. I mean, Jose Aldo's another one. I mean, just man.
Too many now, man. I don't know when the fights are, and then all the separate things. The roster's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, good deal, man. Hey, anything else to kind of add? I appreciate having you on. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, man. I just want to say I appreciate you inviting me, man. I was honored whenever you called. I said, yeah, man, I would love to do that.
I was confident you would add some value to our listeners. You know, I've had grandmasters and pro fighters, and I've had people like you that's just kind of dabbled in some martial arts, but you understand enough of it that you can relate those correlating mental benefits that we use in the karate school that can be used outside of here. And that's what I keep hearing you talk about is dealing with those struggles and painting that vision, you know, goals you set or goals you get, right? But to know how to grind and hustle and get there from A to Z. So,
that's it.
Well, brother, it was great, man. Hey, if you guys are local, I'm sure you can find Ruben Red Alpha Prints. Is that the
Red Alpha Custom Prints is the official name. RedACP.com. We do a lot of social media stuff, so you know we're on all the major ones: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
You got some nice bully-proof
Thanks.
swag.
Yeah, bully-proof.
So-
If I could talk a little bit about this, it's one of our brands, and I call it Bully-Proof by Red Alpha, so I don't get in any trouble with anybody. But Bully-Proof by Red Alpha. But it's the only brand that we have that was inspired by a true story in our life. And so whenever my oldest daughter was in middle school, she was being bullied, and so. This is years later when I got the inspiration of the design, but the process still stayed in my mind is that we, you know, in our house we taught, you know, you avoid the fight. But she would come home and she was being bullied, crying, and but because we said, you know, turn the other cheek type thing, she didn't. And then one day I just got tired of her being, you know, coming home crying, and I said, so tomorrow. You're going to stand up for yourself and you're going to fight. And I already knew she was going to get in trouble. And I said, and you'll see how I'm going to stand by you through this process. Well, she went and she put a whooping on the girl that was bullying her. Never got bullied again. She got kicked out of school. She had to do community service, but I was the one that showed up, you know. And I told the judge that was giving her the community service. I said, look, and I told him the same thing that I told you. I said, in our house, we don't promote violence, but at the same time, we're not going to live our life being bullied.
No.
And I said, so there's one thing to raise awareness, but there's one thing to build, children up to where they're just not going to be bullied. And that's how I tried to raise my kids, is to be bully proof. And so I developed the brand in inspiration of, you know, I drew inspiration from that, and it has grown into different things, you know, like the black label of bully is probably a little bit more mature type thing. And I draw inspiration from the DC black label, you know, because if you're into these types of movies, you know that there's a DC movie and then there's a DC black label movie. So like the Joker and the Black Adam movie that just came out, those are all DC Black Label. And so they're a little bit grittier, a little bit darker. And so that's what I've tried to transition from. The normal bully proof is just, you know, inspiring people to not be bullied and not physically bullied necessarily, but bullied by life. And so
everyone's bullied.
Yeah.
And you got to stand your ground, man. Stand up for it. Consequences, all right, well, results, you're not bullied again.
That's right. That's right. And that's what the brand is about. But that's the only thing I wanted to talk about is the Bullyproof brand.
100%,
It's one of our in-house brands, and it's one that's inspired by a true story.
Yeah. Well, let's support it, guys. Let's find Ruben and get you some Bullyproof. I'm going to get some myself. Right?
Awesome. Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate you, sir. I'll talk to you soon. And you guys, hope you got a lot out of that. Make sure you follow the other episodes and check out our YouTube channel. And we'll see you soon.